Welcome to Forking Around with Flavor South Florida. I'm Kerri Paizzi, CEO of Flavor South Florida. We are sitting down with entrepreneurs, business owners, and influential community partners to talk growth, trials, tribulations, and more. These conversations lead into Flavor South Florida, the region's largest restaurant month, happening every September from the 1st through the 30th. If you're in hospitality or thinking about building something meaningful in this industry, you're in the right place. Pull up a chair and let's get into it. This episode is sponsored by Ultima Caviar. Visit them at ultimacaviar.com. Today, I'm joined by Diana Biederman, a food and restaurant writer who has covered the dining scene in Naples and Palm Beach. With New York roots and a deep love for stories behind the plate, Diana brings a sharp, thoughtful perspective on restaurants, chefs, and the communities that they serve. Welcome to the show, Diana.
Kerri, I'm so excited to be here.
I am so glad that you are on the show. I adore working with you here in our local food scene. I think we do some amazing things here in Palm Beach County. You know, aside from that, though, I want to dig into everything else, your roots, where you got started. So you've had a really interesting path. You were profiled in the New York Times and CBS Sunday Morning to becoming a food and restaurant writer. Just tell me the evolution of that.
Okay, the evolution of that was I did publicity in New York City for more than 2 decades. I don't know that I want to go on more than 2 decades, but it was more than 2 decades. And I also worked on Condé Nast Traveler's first gold list. So that was my first journalism project. So when I ended up in Florida, I feel really fortunate I could combine the 2 skills into giving what I think readers want from me and what they want from their food and restaurant coverage.
So Condé Nast, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
Where are they based?
They're in New York City.
They're in New York City, okay.
This was so long ago. It was the inaugural gold list issue when they polybagged the surveys with the magazine that you would get in the mail instead of reading it online. And the incentive for their subscribers was one person was going to get a trip anywhere they wanted to go.
Okay.
So there were tons of replies. We were a team of 4. We looked like the Time Life operators wearing the headsets, interviewing people. But I interviewed a few famous people who had replied, which when you see who replies, it was just kind of funny. Names you recognize.
Who? Anybody you could tell me?
Like Paul Begala, who is, a talking head on CNN. He was somebody I talked to. What's her name? Ann Bates, who was one of the producers of the original Saturday Night Live, who was the first season EP on A Different World. And, I would ask her questions about certain starlets, and she was forthcoming. It had nothing to do with why I was really interviewing her, which was to get, snips and snaps of the world's best hotels. But that was a really fun project.
Is this what you always wanted to do? Were you always into writing and wanted to be a writer?
I feel more comfortable writing what I have to say than I do speaking. I'm not shy, but my thoughts come across more clearly.
Right.
And you also have that editability.
But even in high school, college, that was your strength?
In college, yeah. I went to Mount Holyoke College, which is a women's college in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And I didn't have that many exams, but we had a lot of papers. So that's where that strength developed.
Where did you grow up?
I was born in New York City at Cornell Hospital. My parents were afraid that I wasn't going to be smart enough to get into one of the good public high schools like Stuyvesant or Hunter, and it's probably accurate. So we moved to New Jersey, the suburbs of New York City. I grew up mostly in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Okay.
In a tiny town called Old Tappan.
I have not heard of that town.
Nobody
I
has.
have some family in Jersey, but I've not heard of that town.
Yeah, we didn't even have a traffic light when I was growing up. It was so small, 4 towns went to my high school.
Really? So, born in New York, moved to Jersey.
Went to college in Massachusetts, and the day after graduation, I moved to New York City. Okay. I lived in Yorkville with a few girls. We were sharing a studio apartment, and it was terrible because 4 people crammed into a space of, 500 square feet.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh, it was terrible. It was horrible. It was horrible.
I went to college, but I stayed home. I stayed at home and I never dormed. I never had that experience. And I always look back and think like, oh, that kind of would have been cool if I did the dorm experience. But in hindsight, I don't think I would have liked it. Like sharing my space with people, especially 500 square feet, sharing a bathroom, like
it was horrible,
I think I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, and you could stagger, morning times, and you had to for shower reasons and makeup and this
That
and
sounds
that.
awful.
It was, and people
not
started
cool.
leaving one by one until there was just like two of us.
So funny. So you write about food. You
I
are
do.
the Palm Beach Post food writer.
Food and restaurant writer. Readers love reading about restaurants.
Isn't that funny? So, restaurants are like, that's why I love flavor so much too, because people find, I don't know, something like alluring, exciting, mysterious. I don't know. They're enamored with restaurants, right?
Yes.
Like the new opening, then the new chef in our area, or just all of it. Think about all these food reality shows too that are just everywhere I turn. There's another one popping up.
Does it feel like work to you to watch those?
I don't want. I watch them all the time. I like a few of them. I'm not a big TV person in general.
Right.
So I will actually DVR. If I have friends who are chefs that are on the show, I will watch their episodes just to support them. But my mother is like, doesn't miss an episode of anything ever. So it's any of those cooking show, any of those reality shows. And I'm just not a TV person. It's just, I'd rather watch like murder mysteries to calm down. I like a little Law and Order. I like that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's like I just want to watch that. The cooking isn't going to calm my anxiety and chill me out at the end of the day.
I get it. And it's so funny because this, the past few months, it feels like we're on Guy Fieri duty. And by the time this airs, like he'll have done 6 Palm Beach County restaurants that we know of for this
He's
season
popping off
of
here.
diners, drive-ins, and dives. And what's been really funny is that none of the places are dives. None are drive-ins. Diners, not really. So
I love Driftwood. I
Yeah.
love Jimmy Everett and
he
Driftwood.
that's
a good place.
But
They
it's not
always
a
do
diner. It's
flavor.
not a drive-in.
No, it's such a great spot.
It's so
though.
great.
So happy
the
for
name
them.
sounds so seasidey, but when you get inside, it feels like it could be, I don't know, it's very Hudson Valley to me.
Yeah, I see that. And I think his dishes are super creative. His cocktails
yeah.
are great.
What I find remarkable about him, the food is so accessible, even, and his training is
But
just,
elevated.
Yeah, exactly. He worked at 11 Madison Park with Daniel Hum. He was the opening sous chef, executive sous chef at Maria in New York. And it turned out I had done a press event at Maria during that time when they had first opened for the Greek Wine Initiative. And, he's worked at so many outstanding places. And it shows up on the plate.
Yeah.
And it's not fussy and it's not pretentious. And I love that. I am so over pretentiousness. One of my favorite movies, and I hearken back to it sometimes in my writing, is Unzipped, which was a documentary about Isaac Mizrahi and the making of a collection in 1994. And one of my favorite scenes, he's in a car with Polly Mellon, who recently passed away. And she was this iconic fashion editor. And she was giving him advice. And she's 2 words, fussy, finished.
Yeah.
And I think about that line all the time when restaurants, there's something about pushing creativity, and then there's something about being creative just to be creative, and it doesn't work on the plate. And it doesn't taste good. It looks pretty, but it's expensive usually, and it's just too fussy.
I love your style of writing.
Thank you.
Because I could sit here all day and ask you, what's your favorite burger? What's your favorite bang for a buck? But honestly, you can all just look up Diana Biederman, Palm Beach Post, because I guarantee you she's written about these topics that I'm asking you. And I love your writing because it's like, I feel like it's the New Yorker in you, where it comes through like very conversationally how you write, and very like page 6 meets like food, right? So it's like a little mashup of both. Who is there a celebrity that you've seen out and about? I mean, I'm sure there are over the years, like in a restaurant. What's your favorite like celebrity restaurant sighting?
Okay, well, I worked at a restaurant that had tons of celebrities coming in and out. I mean, I worked at the 21 Club for almost a decade. And, in the dining room, it was like stars all the time. Private parties upstairs, stars all the time. The only person I just couldn't speak to, George Clooney. I just completely I could not get the word. I remember right the first time he came in, like I went home to change my dress.
He's so hot. Is he like your guy? Like, is he like, would you have like a celebrity type? Is he your, he's my boy.
My celebrity type is Jason Bateman.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was the only one who wasn't we did the premiere of Juno and I didn't meet him.
Oh, that's too shame.
I did get to meet Elliot Page, who was then Ellen. I can't remember her last name, but that performance made me cry. And getting to tell her that in person was just such a lovely thing.
That's so nice.
Yeah, but yeah, Clooney's the only one I really couldn't speak to, and Daryl Hall's another one, the singer.
Yeah, Daryl Hall. Hot for Daryl. Okay, so wait, let's jump over here then. So CBS Sunday Morning profiled you.
Oh, they did, yes.
What was the topic premise behind that?
It was a Valentine's Day related show about love, and the segment with Tracy Smith and her husband, the producer John D'Amelio, was about reconnecting with your lost loves. So it was Carol Channing and her high school boyfriend. It was Fred Savage and his high school girlfriend.
Oh.
It was Donna Hanover and her college boyfriend. And then it was me and my ex-husband.
But he was your ex-husband at the time?
No.
Oh,
He
you
was
were
my
together
husband.
at the time. Okay.
Yeah, we divorced in 2024.
Oh,
but
recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
They came to Naples to film it.
Okay.
Because we were like, do we do this in New York City? He was living in North Carolina. We were renovating a house in Naples, and there was this big storm, and it's like, let's just do it in Naples because the weather will be good.
Okay. So you're divorced 2 years. So how's the dating world going? How's that doing for you?
Well, it's challenging. There's one fella who I like who thinks I'm fat. And who thinks
Stop.
No, it's true.
Stop. You like him, but he thinks you're fat?
Yeah.
P.S. You're not fat. Well, so there's that.
But his words are trimmed down, and he always has like ideas about.
Is he fit? Does he have a six-pack?
Not anymore, but I suspect he did when he was younger, because he was very athletic. But it's just funny to me, like, to hear these suggestions on what I should eat when we're like out and about reviewing restaurants for potential coverage.
Right.
He's like, you should only eat 2 bites. Thank you very much.
All right, I appreciate that you like him, but I think we have to find her a new man. Everybody, I think we need to keep open the pool.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious to me. And then I'm starting to maneuver the dating sites after.
Oh, did you go on some sites?
I'm on eHarmony.
Okay.
And that's how I met him.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to do Hinge maybe. And
I heard Hinge is okay.
Yeah.
eHarmony, it's working, or?
Oh, I met him, and he's hilarious and smart.
Have you had any like weird encounters, like any like weird DMs, like, hey?
No, I don't like I just ignore them.
Okay.
If somebody doesn't follow my rules, like, please be in Palm Beach County or like just 20 minutes north.
Yeah.
I don't need a long distance relationship. I have no time. The county is the size of Rhode Island and Delaware combined, and for work, I am constantly, between Sequesta and Boca Raton.
Yeah, you're all over covering everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, technically, I could date you if you're in Boca Raton, but it's going to be, that's a heavy drive for me. And
yeah. Especially if you're going to have a glass of wine or two at dinner. It's like,
there was a guy who was bugging me, and I'm not going to say who it was because he works in the restaurant business, but he kept asking me out. Like, he's like, come meet me for a glass of wine. It's like, dude. Like,
is it a restaurant owner?
No.
Chef?
No.
Manager?
No.
Okay.
Decorator, let's say that.
Oh, okay.
A decorator,
okay.
Designer. And I was just like, I'm not getting in my car to drive 40 minutes for a drink and then drive back. That's stupid.
Yeah.
and it's not worth it to me. My time is more valuable than that.
So were you in the dating scene in Naples too?
No, I was married until August 2024.
Okay.
And the position at the Palm Beach Post became available upon Liz Balmaceda's retirement. And I just thought, I need a fresh start. 4 hurricanes and an ex-husband later, you know.
So wait, how do you find the difference between Palm Beach and Naples?
I find there's a much more dynamic energy here. And maybe it's, you know, that the cult of New Yorkers, you know, you're a former New Yorker,
Yeah.
it feels like there's this like, it feels like the center of the world right now. You know, it feels like Manhattan South and Hollywood East. Like all eyes are on Palm Beach County. And I find it interesting that, you know, New York newspapers are paying particular attention, not just because the president is here, but celebrities are moving here.
A ton.
Right? Like Kevin James.
It's so funny because people always assume like when I lived in New York, I saw celebrities all the time. And I did, but mainly because I worked at, similar to you, I worked at a restaurant that we had a lot of celebrities come in. I've met probably at least 100 and I'm friends with a good amount. And it's funny because one of my favorite celebrity sightings was actually Cameron Diaz. And I was walking down Fifth Avenue. I walked into a jewelry shop and she was just standing there with her boyfriend. And she was so nice. And she was prettier in person and taller in person, if you could believe that. And
I have
she was
nothing
so
nice to say
cool.
about her.
Really? Oh my gosh, she was so nice to me. So she was my favorite celebrity sighting personally. But the amount of celebrities I see in Florida is a lot. Like I was out at a restaurant last week in Palm Beach and Ramona was there from the
guy who
show.
called me fat went out with her.
Really?
Yeah,
She
but
was there.
different dating site.
She was there with a bunch of women. Actually, she definitely was not a date. But it's funny because I've never been to Naples, so I don't have much to compare. But I think it's pretty and it's quiet and it's
Well, that's just it. It's quiet.
Right?
I mean, there were a handful of restaurants I would spend my own money at. I could name 4.
yeah.
And it's a huge county, but there's not much that's going on that's interesting in the restaurant world there. They think it's interesting just because of the amount of restaurants, but the quality is, you know, like I said, there were 4 places I'd willingly go and have a good time.
Naples
and
is
spend my
pretty
own money.
small, right?
It changes during season than after season. You know, you feel it more than you do here. This seems more year round to me, which is why I think it's more dynamic.
We are definitely becoming more year-round here.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was speaking with Noel Martinez. He's the president of the the Chamber of North County here. And he was saying that the amount of people that are coming in here, and I said to him, I said, where are they going? And I asked him where they were coming from. A lot of New York, California, Canada, Michigan. And it's so interesting because I really... You know, flavor goes up to, we go into Martin County as well. And I'm seeing so much, even in that scene growing in Palm City, Port St. Lucie. And the trends are just, and now we have Michelin here, which started, as you know, last year. And they just announced their winners for this year a month or so ago. And it's fantastic for us and for our food scene. And we really have great restaurants here. Tell me some of your favorites.
Okay, I have a few, and they're all over the county. I love Kasumi in Boca Raton.
Oh, I've not been there.
It's great. Their happy hour deal is fantastic. If somebody was going to ask me what the best happy hour is in the whole county, I'd probably point them to Kasumi. Something else I love is the Blue Door. And if you want to do celebrity sightings in Palm Beach County, that's probably the first place I would send somebody.
Blue Door, really?
And it's that quiet celebrity. It reminded me of 21 Club in the sense that, you know, instead of the team players, we were an owner's place. So it's a different kind of celebrity.
Right.
It's like the person you're going to read about in the FT or the Wall Street Journal versus on the sports pages of the Athletic or like that. Another thing about the restaurant scene here is some people dismiss it, but I don't think it's a bad thing. You know, so many chains are here, but we get the upscale chains, you know, like Felice and San Ambrose. And
I don't consider those chains. For me personally, I mean, a chain is like Outback.
Okay.
Right?
But anything with more than one location is technically
speaking, it is.
Yeah, it is.
But I feel like those are more. And to that note, it's funny that you say chain because there are a few like that I do frequent both. Like Il Molino has one in New York, so I go up there when I go to there. Same Santa Ambrose. Yeah, gosh, there's a lot now that we're thinking.
Biblique.
El Molino was the other one. Oh, La Masseria. They have in New York. So it's funny. So when I spend my time in the summer in New York, I always try to go to my flavor friends up there.
That's so funny.
I do. I want to support them. So, okay, Blue Door. What else?
I love the Blue Door. I love Felice. Let me see what I actually wrote them down. I love Nicholson Muir, and I don't think a lot of people know about that. He worked, we're talking about New York, he worked at the Royalton Hotel when he was a young chef. It's owned by James Muir. Yeah. And if you remember the original Devil Wears Prada, that's where Anna Wintour would go to lunch.
Oh.
And so the first time I was there, I was asking him, I said, did you make her lunch? He's like, no, because I work the nighttime shift.
He's lovely.
He is lovely. That he's got that $45 summer special going. I mean, if I was going to recommend any one place to go that you haven't been that's really worth your drive, no matter where you're coming from, it's Nicholson Muir. I just think he does an outstanding job. I think his team does an outstanding job. The food is great. It's so pretty. It reminds me of Nick and Tony's in the Hamptons a little bit. You know, it's yeah, and he's got this cute little bar cart thing going now, where you can, when you're flying and they're pushing the bar cart down the aisle, he has a vintage Pan Am bar cart.
Oh, that's fun.
With the little mini liquor bottles, and you can sort of like tell them like what you want, and they'll make the drink from those little.
I'm overdue to go. I've went there. I mean, look, I eat out. How many nights a week do you eat out?
Probably 3 or 4.
All right, I've probably got you beat. I think I'm like 4 or 5. I'm definitely, and it's like so many restaurants to go to, and everyone's like, oh, I have owners texting me like, hey, you should come in. I'm like, I'll be there in 3 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks.
Well, that's just it. It's like, there are 5,000 restaurants here.
So many.
There are so many, and I hope to live long enough to go to all of them.
Right.
But even 3 nights a week is just. It's sort of testing the limit of
during Flavor we do a challenge. It's called Eat, Check, Repeat. And last season we had someone got to 28 flavor menus.
It's remarkable.
In 30 days. So that means this person did lunches, dinners, all of it, right? And then runners up, people sent me in their receipts to prove that they went. And I tallied them up. Runner up was 27, then 26. Like these people were playing to win. So I think you need to pay attention to when you go out to flavor restaurants in September, and you and Eddie, your
we will.
coworker, you guys really should enter the competition because you're doing it anyway. Like you're out.
That's hilarious.
All these nights.
What's the prize?
Well, last year, I might change it up. Last year was $1,000 cash.
Oh my gosh.
Was first prize. Second prize was tickets to the Palm Beach Food and Wine Festival. Third prize was tickets to Jupiter Seafood Festival. And there was a fourth, and it's escaping me. But our local food
scene. Those are good prizes.
They were great, and they were all VIP tickets. And so people really, really were in it to win it,
Oh, I'll keep that in mind for this season.
I mean, it's a lot.
I thought that was such a great promotion. We had something similar in Naples, but the caliber of restaurants here is so much higher.
Yeah.
So it was something I looked forward to and took advantage of as opposed to doing it.
Well, you also are familiar with New York City Restaurant Week.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, it's kind of funny. When I worked at 21, our regulars would not come during Restaurant Week.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing, but off season here is a different ball of wax. So
I tend to, I go out to eat for work, obviously, so I do eat in season, but I'm not as actively excited to do it. I love eating at our restaurants here in June, July, August, and September because I get to know the staff, I get to know the bartender, I get to know the people. Where in season, they're busy. They're busy, they're running, they're hustling, and it's like, I just prefer to avoid all that. So,
and also on the island, you can actually go to restaurants during off season because it's bananas busy.
Yeah.
I would love to go back to Biblique or
We should go to Biblique for sure.
yeah. They have a chicken dish. Like I know they have the famous chicken dish that Sue Bell always talks about. What is it? The Creole chicken? But I think their chicken paillard is just fantastic. Like that's the dish I would get again and again and again.
So it's funny because I went to, there's a lot of new island restaurants. I think you've probably been to most of them. You go to the new ones. You have to because you have to cover them, right?
We're getting there, yes.
Like when they open, like you're there.
Well, yes and no. The coverage is divided. We have a freelancer covering the island whose name is Marcy, and her byline runs in the Shiny Sheet.
Okay.
I'll go to restaurants on the island if I feel like I can include them in a roundup, like the Breakers brunch. I mean, that's the world. I mean, that's probably the best brunch in America.
Yeah.
So, is it worth the splurge? Absolutely. I think it might be worth the splurge a little more during stone crab season.
Yes.
Because it's unlimited stone crab, but it's fantastic. That was just one of the. I love a good brunch.
Me too.
And it's fantastic. Well, we'll have to do Spada next.
We have to do a lunch roundup.
And that it's
Right?
interesting that you say that. I think post-pandemic, it's been really problematic for restaurants to find staff to work 2 shifts. You can do it on the island during season, but then you see the shift, doors open at 4:00 instead of doors open at 11:30 a.m. or 11. There just isn't enough staff to cover it because you've got the wait staff that's doing, Nantucket and Palm Beach or
Right.
just shuttling between, seasonal resorts, Rhode Island and Palm Beach.
What are your favorite brunch spots around here? Can you
Well, no, I think the Breakers has spoiled me for life,
yeah.
but I also like Elena's at Palm Beach Gardens. I find myself there on quite a few Sundays. I get the same thing. It's an egg sandwich on grilled focaccia with fig jam, and it's just the most marvelous thing.
Tavolina Bake. Not that this is I'm picturing brunch.
I'm going
we're
there
brunching.
for lunch today
You are?
after our chat. Yeah,
Tavolina Bakery
is rock star good.
so good. And he
So
just
good.
started breakfast. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not know that.
He just started
Is it breakfast all day?
I think it's till 11 and then he changes it to
Okay.
lunch.
All
but
right.
I'll tell you, like the breakfast sandwiches are
Oh, that sounds so good.
insanely good.
Okay.
Like this is my new go-to
That's
for
gonna
like
be a
when I go on
problema
a
because
boat.
I need to trim down.
Right. Okay. Well, speaking of which, so how do you stay thin? You do. You're thin. Like I don't care what that guy said. You're thin. How do you stay thin when you're eating every night? I mean,
It's really hard. You want the truth?
Yeah.
I work out 5 times a week.
you do.
Yeah, I do.
What kind of workout do you do?
I do weights. I do treadmill. I call it pool Pilates, just to stretch because as you get older, certain things just don't bend the way they used to, and the water assists with the movement. And I'm also microdosing.
Okay.
But
That's
I think
good.
I'm going to it's not working for me. Given the cost, it's come out to like $90 per pound. And that's just not efficient. I just have to, desserts, desserts are my kryptonite. Anything baked is my kryptonite.
What's your
And
favorite dessert?
Speaking of Tavolina, those cookies.
Those the powdered ones.
Oh my good, the almond cookies.
Yeah, the ones that melt in your mouth. That when I bring them home, my son like just gobbles them up, and I'm
I
like, "Where'd all the
know.
cookies go?" He's like, "I don't know."
Right? Yeah, it's just, and Nicholson Muir, he does these chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
That are just heavenly. It's hard. I've never met a dessert I don't like.
So I'm trying to think. Okay, Blackbird has really great dessert. They have their chef
One? Oh, yeah,
Denise.
Denise.
She's like
Yep.
an artist with the desserts.
Well, it's so funny. She was on Guys Grocery Games, and so was Jamal Lake from Ganache.
Oh yeah, ganache, Jamal.
Ganache. I'm addicted to those salted banana caramel cupcakes.
I was the judge for Mardi Gras for the Cisco Chef Showcase back in February, and I got to judge all weekend. Or not judge, like hosting it, not judging it. And so I worked with 6 chefs that weekend. Jamal was one of them. And he made this chocolate raspberry tart, and he did a demo right in front of the crowd and me. Oh my God, that was so good. It's so good. He's serious.
He's so talented. His decorating skills with the cakes are just spectacular.
And these little crunchy things.
Yeah, and there's so much texture to what he does, but the smoothness for me is what really stands out when I get something from there. And it's so tricky. The gal who does my hair, her salon is right across the street from Ganesh.
What a problem to have.
Right?
Oof.
So I always try to book my appointments late in the day so I'm not even tempted because he's usually sold out by 3:00.
I would book them in the morning and be like, come on, let's go. I'm stocking up.
And here's another obsession I have. Sour seed bagels on Fern Street in West Palm Beach. I never liked sourdough bagels until I tried one of
I'm
Chris's.
intrigued.
They're so good. His name is Chris Slauson, and you can't buy Lucy's. Like, you have to buy the bagel sandwich. And the sandwich can be really simple. It can just be butter and jam or cream cheese.
Yeah. I'm so hungry. It all sounds good.
Oh,
so
it's spectacular.
So it's funny because like I used to be more of a sweets person. Now I'm more of a savory person.
Okay.
I can skip a dessert unless it's made in house and it's very unique and and I'm also getting some weird allergy to sugars. So if it's a process, and it might, I don't know, if it's processed sugar, I sneeze.
Yep.
So everybody knows now if I like sneak a bite of some cookie and I start sneezing, then I'm like, oh, you ate a cookie? I'm like, yeah, I did. So I have that adversity, which is new and weird. Do you have any food or aversions, or did you have any?
I do, but the job doesn't let you really.
You kind of just got to roll with it.
You have to suck it up sometimes. Like if I could get away with not eating anything fried, I would.
Yeah, I love fried food though. I really do. I want to fry everything.
I'll just take a bite or two, and that usually is enough. What else? Mussels?
No, not so much.
No, but I love oysters and I love clams. But mussels don't really do it for me.
Yeah. So did you have a stomach issue of some sort?
I had colon cancer 20 some odd years ago. I was diagnosed in 2004.
This episode is sponsored by Ultima Caviar. Experience exceptional. Visit them at ultimacaviar.com.
And it took me forever. I was one of those people that you read about now with, under 40 who had stage 3 colon cancer, and they determined the stage after your surgery and whether it was touching lymph nodes. So it was this tumor that was the size of a navel orange. That's what my surgeon told me. And it was remarkable because I went to so many doctors and nobody diagnosed me. I was actually dating a doctor at the time who just said, drink more water and eat more fiber.
How did you find out that you had this?
My internist sent me to somebody she went to medical school with who was young. He was like the youngest doctor I had seen by far. And we did blood work and it came back really just awry. So within a week, we were doing a colonoscopy. And when he called me, he's like, can you come in for the results? I'm like, oh, you just want the copay? He's like, no, I think you need to come in and bring a friend. That's when I knew there was something really bad. Bring a friend.
Yeah.
And, in New York City, like everybody has plans. It's like, how do you get somebody to come in, join you for something spontaneously, right? But I called my best friend and said, listen, I think this is not going to be good. And I did the surgery. I did 24 rounds of chemo over the course of 8 months. I have half a colon. So if something's not sitting right with me, it just... So it's a funny job because I have to say yes. I have to eat everything, but I know certain things are really not going to go my way.
Oh boy! But everything is good now.
Yeah, everything's good now,
and no side effects or anything.
Well, the side effect, my eyes are still, the tear ducts are still closed from the chemo.
Nothing with like food. You can eat everything now.
I can eat
almost
everything.
Just eat a little bit.
Yeah. There are certain things like the fried foods that I'll take a couple of bites, but my stomach doesn't really like that so much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but it's good for people to. I just hear about this because how old were you when this happened?
I was 39.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And at that time, they were recommending colonoscopies, I think, for I don't know if it was 60 and over or 55 and older, but it's, we're the plastic bottle generation. So, who knows what caused it?
A friend of mine, she's 42. She just got diagnosed with colon cancer. And I'm just like, what is going on?
There's a lot of digestive cancers going on. And I just wonder, what is that one source? What is this thing that we all have in common? Or is it just better diagnostics? Because that could be it too. Now that they're
maybe
looking
a
for
little
it.
both, but
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. Reading about the microplastics and all the crap that's in
Yes,
our food. That's why it's
exactly.
so interesting. Around this area too, the amount of chefs here, I can think of 3 or 4 off the top of my head that are starting their own farms
Yeah.
to source their own restaurants for multiple reasons. One, for food cost purposes, I think, to try to keep that controllable internally. And 2, because they're controlling whatever pesticides there are, which is so interesting to me that, I mean, how cool would it be if, there's so many, the farm to table concept right now it's been around for a minute here, the farm to table thing, right?
It feels like everything starts in New York. I'm thinking about the farms at Stonehill.
Yeah.
Trickles down to
Yeah.
Florida like 20 years later.
Right.
It's like food trucks are like
Takes us
became
a little
a thing,
time to get there,
in
but
Florida.
we get there. So, all right, let's play a little quick, fun,
Okay.
rapid fire question
All right.
game here. All right. So I'm just going to have you answer these quickly. Don't think about them.
Okay.
That's it. I already know the answer to number 1 anyway.
What is it?
Naples or New York City for dinner?
New York City.
Palm Beach power lunch or Naples sunset dinner?
Palm Beach Power Lunch.
Ooh. Best one bite you've had this year?
That's tricky. I'm going to say it was the swordfish bites that you can get at Driftwood as a full dinner. But I had that at the Palm Beach Food and Wine Festival, where Chef Jimmy Everett was doing just little hors d'oeuvre sizes of the swordfish, the jerk swordfish. It was succulent and just it was the perfect fish bite.
I'm intrigued to try it. Restaurant opening you're most excited for?
Pasties.
What is that? Where is that?
That's going to be in Nora.
Oh, Nora's popping.
And Steven Starr's, this legendary restaurant owner. I love Pastis in New York. It was a place that my friend Todd and I would go to quite a bit. And I'm excited to see it. I think they're saying October, November.
Okay. Can we get a date on the calendar now? Because I know how busy we both are.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be the hardest reservation in the county to get.
Most underrated food neighborhood. I have mine.
I have one, Boynton Beach. I know that it's a large city, but I think about Simon Sushi. I think about Nicholson Muir. I think about Driftwood. Like those 3 places, they're best in show for what they do, and they're not too far apart from each other. So
Boynton's a good one. Mine is Stewart.
okay, well I don't cover.
I know you don't
Stewart.
cover Martin County, but that is my underrated neighborhood because
We'll have to go.
You have to come to Stewart. The amount of good restaurants in Stewart is mind-blowing to me. So we just had the Michelin winners announced not too long ago for the 2nd year now in our county, which is absolutely amazing. Are you surprised by any of these winners, or
I'm not surprised by the winners so much as who was left out and who wasn't bumped up. I think Moody Tongue is star-worthy. Emelina is so exquisite and elegant, and I can't say enough good things about it. Expensive. It's like the 3 E's: expensive, elegant, exquisite.
Yeah.
But it's worth every cent. Just for the experience. It's so intimate, and you feel like you're in the couple's dining room almost when they explain the stories and the provenance of how they came to develop such a dish. I really loved it. It's a special occasion place for a lot of people, and that it made history as Michelin's first Cuban restaurant to
in the
earn
world, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, in the world.
to earn a star is pretty incredible. But the team behind it is just Amazing.
Who do you think was left out that should be
so
getting Michelin
all right, so we
awarded?
we have what was it? 9 No, we have my restaurant math is never good.
Is it? I think it's
7.
10?
We have 7 on the recommended level, and I think if you're including that group, who's missing from that conversation would be Oceana, which I love, which was a USA Today Restaurant of the Year. And that was a rare feat. It was like 30 restaurants across America were named Restaurant of the Year, and Oceana got it. I also think Driftwood.
Driftwood, yeah.
You know, it's such a great experience. It's probably a little too expensive for a Bib Gourmand, but
At least recommended.
Yeah, it's definitely
Jimmy's awesome.
parallel. Yeah, it's definitely parallel to others on the list. And I preferred it to others, a few others on the list. I won't say who, but yeah.
Have you eaten? I won't ask you. Have you eaten at all of the ones that we have listed?
I now have, yes.
You have. Okay.
Yes.
I have, except for Emelina.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to go there. And I always also want to give a restaurant. It's like, I got to let them get their feet. Obviously, they don't need any more time to get it together because they've clearly got it together. So, but you recently went to Moody Tongue for dinner, right?
Yes, I loved it.
I love Moody Tongue. I really, really do. It's one of my favorites. I recommend it all the time.
It was very intimate. It was easygoing. It wasn't the usual omakase experience for me. Usually
Right.
it's too many hours and it's too much food. This was perfectly timed. I thought the portions were just like petite enough.
Did you have that
you-
souffle, that first dish?
It was fantastic.
There was caviar on top of it, right?
Yeah, salmon roe atop the.
Do you like caviar?
I love caviar.
Good. I have a present for you.
Yay.
So this episode is sponsored by Ultima Caviar.
Wonderful.
And I've taken the liberty to pop this bad boy open for you because they
Yay.
wanted you to taste their amber.
Okay.
And I have one as well here. So here's yours with your pearl
Thanks,
spoon.
lady.
And let's have a little lunch right now. I'm just going to sit here with my caviar.
Okay.
Cheers. I mean, just do
Cheers.
the bump. Do a big old bump.
Okay, I'm going to do it with a spoon.
Do it with the spoon, yeah.
A really big. How big is your bump?
Oh, it's pretty big.
Okay, like this big?
Yeah, as much
Okay.
as you want. It's yours now. So good. They also have these cute little jet packs. They have all these little party packs.
pack?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
For traveling, you get a little pack. You put it, bring it on the plane with you. I'm like, this is genius.
I would totally do that. I'm going away next week.
So
Should
it's
I come
funny.
back?
Yeah, do it. I'll get you a jetpack. So speaking of the Michelin, so Emelina, I'm presuming has caviar on their menu or in a dish. I'm assuming, right?
Well, the dishes change all the time
Oh,
depending
I
on
didn't
what's
know
in
that.
season. Osmel and Camilla, who are the husband and wife team behind it,
Mm-hmm.
they also got a Green Star for Entrenos in Miami last year. Similar
Oh,
to
that's them too?
Yes, yeah. They were in Miami last year. They got a
didn't
regular
know
Michelin
that.
star and the Green Star. So I was kind of surprised they didn't get the Green Star here because they're still, sourcing everything, very Florida.
Okay.
And they're locavores.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, and then Butcher's Club also has caviar on there. Have you had their? They have these little bites. It's like a wagyu bite, and then there's caviar on. I just feel like
That sounds very decadent and very
it's
delicious.
insanely decadent, and it's like you can really only have one or two. It's just so good.
Nicholson Muir, we're
they
talking
have
about
caviar?
Michelin. Yeah, he does these very indulgent bites as well. And, it's kind of funny, how Michelin, steers toward that tasting menu experience, when awarding stars. And Nicholson Muir has a tasting menu, but I think you'd miss out on so much more that restaurant does if you just stuck to the tasting menu because
Right.
it's so good, just to go all in and do a little tasting, do a little indulgence with the beef. The cuts are beautiful. They're beautifully prepared. It's fun. I love Nicholson Muir so much.
We are so lucky to have these restaurants here, and the fact that they opened it up to the state, and we got quite a few.
Outside of the big cities, Miami and Orlando and Tampa, I feel like we killed everybody else.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. And I think it's only
recognition-wise.
going to get bigger and better here as these chefs come to this area.
Oh, yeah. We're
and keep
like the new New York
innovating.
City.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic.
I think so too. I think this is the most dynamic place to be right now.
I agree. We are. And Moody Tongue, yes, I would give them a star too. You know, one more thing I wanted to mention was I decided when I retire, I want to be a Michelin inspector.
I think you'd be an excellent
Right?
Michelin.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm doing it. That's it. Decision made.
I wonder how we apply for that.
I found I have the application.
You do?
Oh, I'm not even joking. I actually looked up the qualifications needed to be a Michelin inspector. I'm so ready for this job. A degree in culinary arts or hospitality or hotel management in any related field. Several years of professional experience in restaurants, hospitality. So 5 to 10 years in restaurant hospitality. Deep knowledge of ingredients, cooking techniques, food cultures, and gastronomy. Exceptional sensory skills, being able to analyze flavors, textures, preparation, and consistently objectively, and strong writing and observation skills for producing detailed inspection reports. I may fail at that last one, but I check all the other boxes.
Okay, so combined, we got this.
Retirement job found.
Yeah, done. That's probably the most fun and the most dangerous job at any given time. And I think what was really beautiful about the ceremony was watching Asmel and Camilla get the award, via
I saw
video.
that was really nice.
It was so touching and so beautiful. And for me, coming from Naples, seeing Kayla Pfeiffer, who grew up in Sequesta, getting recognition for the work she's doing in Naples. And they also did a video presentation of her creativity on a plate.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it was a great ceremony. And I know a lot of people were like, why didn't they do it at a fancy hotel? I thought this was perfect.
It's fine the way it is. Chef's counter or quiet corner table?
Ooh, it depends where. If I'm on a date, quiet corner table. And if I dine alone a lot, so that would be, chef's counter.
I like chef's counter. I think if I'm have to pick between the two, I think I like, because I like to meet people, and especially if I'm dining alone, and I get to talk to the bartender, and it's whoever's sitting next to me if they're cool, I think that's I would pick. Yeah. But good point on that. If it's a date, you want a quiet table.
Yeah. But sometimes, if it's an early date and you're not sure, the counter is probably a better option because then you don't feel so trapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough call, but yeah.
I think your final answer is chef's counter.
Yeah, probably. It's more entertaining too, because if you run out of things, if you're dining alone, definitely that's like the seat of choice. But if you're on a date that's not so good, at least you can like look and see what they're doing and talk about that. If you have nothing to talk about.
No, that's true. And I enjoy dining alone more than people would imagine. It's funny. So I'll go on influencer dines and such, and they always ask, say I can bring a plus one. And some nights I'm just like, I'm going by myself. And it's the looks I get when I have a full table full of food. Like I have 2 salads, 2 apps, 2 entrees. I bring home to my son, whatever. And people look at the side eyes I get like, why is this chick eating all this food all by herself?
Because for me,
hilarious.
It's different. I like one of my superpowers is middle age and the ability to be invisible. Usually, if I get to the restaurant first, I am taken to the table closest to the toilet. I think readers don't understand that. They think I get special treatment from these restaurants, but no.
Well, you and I both actually use aliases sometimes when we make reservations because I tell people that a lot too, especially during flavor. Like I pay for my dinners. I make reservation in a different name.
We always pay and we get reimbursed by the newspaper. And the funny thing is, if I have to make the reservation, it's an anonymous name, but I usually ask my plus one
to make it in their name, yeah.
Yeah. Or I'll just walk in and see what's going on because some places claim to be busy and they're not.
Right. And we're getting the real experience that way, which I think is important.
That's right. And people I get a lot of reader mail like, why aren't you covering, X restaurant or Y restaurant? And chances are I've been there and I just didn't like it. I didn't have a good experience and I can't recommend it.
Would you tell the owner that though?
I've gotten calls, yeah.
Yeah, I would be. I think
I'll walk
that's
them through every single
constructive
thing that
and
happened.
I think they should know that.
They should know that, especially if they're not on premise all the time.
It's better coming from you than an angry Yelp reviewer.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? I think.
I think so too.
All right, couple more quick fires here. Pizza or stone crab?
Oh, I used to have a stone crab license. It's such a murky business. So much hard work goes into getting a stone crab. I mean, the price differential is just crazy. I love pizza, but it's definitely stone crab. Stone crab.
I love some good pizza, but stone crab is a jam. Like,
Yeah.
so good. Reservations weeks ahead or spontaneous walk-in?
Spontaneous walk-in.
Same.
I think you get a better sense of what's going on there.
One food trend that you're over?
Omakase, which is, they call it courses, but it's like one piece of sushi or like a tiny little dish, spread out over, it's supposed to be usually 90 minutes and it usually takes way too long. It goes 3 hours for very little food. And I'm just kind of over it. I know the kitchen can control costs and timing and this and that. I just... It's
funny
like
to
tasting
me.
menus too. I know people love them and they're so Michelin, blah, blah, blah. I don't have the patience. I mean, conversely, I don't want to eat a big plate of something either. I'd rather have a few different things to try because I get bored after the first few bites. But I just find omakase very expensive for what it is.
It's funny because omakase, the actual definition of it is the chef chooses.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. I think they equate it to sushi because that's usually how it's presented.
Right, but that's how it's presented
omakase
here.
could be any food.
Right.
Any food.
There's a good place in Delray Beach doing it now called Mino. It was a nice mix of plates, cooked items and sushi and like just different things.
Yeah.
But there are certain sushi chains that I just find it really boring and predictable. And I don't like anything to be predictable.
I went to Taki Omakase in Delray and it was phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed it. And the quality of the food was really great. The $700 check was painful though.
Yeah, and that's
two people.
another thing.
That's a lot of that's like a mortgage for some people
it's
or
crazy.
car payment or something.
The pricing.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Holy moly!
But I'm kind of over it. I think men like it. I think that's something that men really love because my guy friends.
I'm not over it yet.
Okay,
I'm
my
not over
guy
it
friends
yet.
love it. I'm just.
Also, I went to a Michelin omakase in London. It was another
Which one?
Oh gosh, I don't remember the name. It was in Mayfair. I'll have to look it up, but it was super it was the best one you could probably find in Mayfair, so that one was the same thing. It was like $600 or 600, pound. Was it pounds over there?
Yeah.
It was a lot. And that's what it is. That's what the omakase is now. And it's just like, I'm not over it yet. I'm not over it yet.
Well, good because there's more coming. There's more coming.
Give it to me. Moody Tongue at the Hilton in West Palm Bay. I enjoy theirs. They do flavor, so there'll be a flavor again this season, and I do like theirs. But we can start an omakase podcast if you want. Talk about that. Last meal in New York. Where are you going?
Last meal ever?
Yeah.
I think, it's not necessarily about the food. I think it's about the emotion. So, and what it evokes. I guess for me, wow, that's really, that's how, and the easy answer is Le Bernardin, but I don't think that would be it actually. I think it would be something that has a little more bounce.
I don't know mine either.
I'd really have to give that a think.
Last meal in Palm Beach County.
Last meal in Palm Beach County. Either Nicholson Muir or Blue Door.
All right. We have to go to Nicholson Muir. I'm overdue.
Yes, we do. I was there with Stephen Esperino a couple weeks ago. He was on the original first season of Top Chef. And it was magnificent. They do such a great job there.
Okay, how do you decide when a restaurant needs a spotlight versus when it needs time to grow quietly?
It's based on that experience that you have. I mean, it's not my job to put somebody out of business. And people are like, well, why don't you just go back? It's like, okay, because there are 5,000 restaurants. And if I feel like maybe I caught it too early, I usually give something like 2 to 3 months to find its footing. Having worked in restaurants, like when you're hiring people, 90% of your initial crew is not going to work out.
Right.
And oftentimes it's the chef. So if I were to go like the first week or the first day, and I see this on Facebook and Instagram all the time, there are certain people in Palm Beach County who have to be the absolute first to try something. And I don't think that's really fair to the restaurant either. But conversely, don't call it a soft opening if you are charging full fare. You don't get to do that. And I try to explain that to restaurant owners. I'm like, you can't use that terminology unless you're discounting. Because if you're charging full fare, people should get the full experience.
Right.
You shouldn't be experimenting on them.
Good points. I mean, I also do think it's unfair to judge a restaurant right in the beginning. And okay, so I just have a couple more questions.
Sure.
I want to wrap up here. What do chefs misunderstand about food writers, and what do food writers sometimes misunderstand about chefs? Are there misconceptions?
I think there's like a fear factor. Like the people are like scared to talk to me sometimes. With Jimmy, I went in there and I always record my interviews. So this way we can just talk. I think they don't know that I've worked in restaurants and I've done the PR for some Michelin-starred chefs and some not Michelin-starred chefs who are very big celebrities. I feel like I know the world and what their time constraints are and trying to make people happy. So I just want to let them talk about whatever it is they want to talk about. I don't go in and there are a couple of journalists I feel who go in with preconceived notions based upon what somebody did at a previous restaurant or earlier work, and I don't do that.
And I know you don't, and I love that you don't. And it's funny because that's going back to how you write, your style of writing that I appreciate, and I think the readers appreciate, is that I subscribed to the Palm Beach Post so that I could read your articles.
Oh, thank you.
By the way.
I wish more people would.
To get my $1 a month or something.
Yeah, but we have deals all the time.
Yeah, do it because it's good. I mean, because it's good. You stay relevant. You're and like I said, the flow of your reading. I'm not a big reader. I like to read shorter articles. I like bullet points. That's how I read. Like I can't read a full book. Like unfortunately, I just cannot. I'll read the same page 300 times.
I mean, I had a blog with my friend Dana Wood, and it was called Florida Beauty Problems. And it was developed for, we call them the Tory moms who are waiting outside, their kids' school on the pickup line. Just scroll and read about, whatever's going on in the Florida beauty
That's me 3
industry.
days a week.
But that informs my writing too, because the scrolling person, women make up most of the reservations.
Yeah.
So, what's going to catch a busy mom's attention?
It's true. It's true. And that's a good one. That's a great blog. But so what I was going to say was I feel like the preconceived notion that maybe some chefs or restaurant owners might have would be that I don't like reading negative. And I never, ever read negative from you I don't
want to get sued and I don't want to put somebody out of business.
It's that, and it's not even about getting sued or putting somebody out of business. I think it's more like I've read some food writers in the past that, I'll even speak to one in New York that was a big one on Long Island for years. And when he walked in the door, everyone was like, oh my gosh, terrified because he literally would put people out of business. But our restaurant, he got along great with my owner and all that. But I think what I love most about your writing is that you're honest to the readers. You give real feedback. You're not negative. Nobody wants to read negative. I have read articles from other food writers, other places that they're writing the Dirty Dines articles. They're writing 7 restaurants that just closed. That's not useful information to me, not the restaurants that just closed. I can't go there. Great, they closed. It sucks they closed, but what good does that do me, That's why I love your writing, because you're not negative. You're honest and a great writer, and it flows.
But we do write about restaurants that close because when you have a seasonal crowd, what I discovered in Naples was like people think they like have ownership of certain places. Even if they haven't visited for 10 years, you're just like, oh, that was my favorite place. It's like, well, then why did you support them when they were open, you know?
I guess that's true, but like
it's so
I never
crazy.
read those articles because I'm like, oh, they closed, I can't go, you know?
Yeah, no.
That's interesting perspective on that, though.
Yeah, so and it also helps us keep track of what's going into the space.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Or why something didn't work out. Like the Todd English restaurant that didn't work out. And it was in a space, I think it was at Lake Worth, that just consistently had a rotating roster of
that
restaurants.
restaurant was there for a very short time.
Very short time. And you just wonder, like, what happened? So, but yeah, I know. I think time is money, and I'd rather encourage you where to go and where to spend your money.
Yeah.
You know, it's a funny county in the sense that we have people with unlimited funds, but they probably have private chefs versus people who just don't want to cook every night. So where is your money going to be best spent? And what kind of experience are you going to have? For me, it's more than the food. It's the service. It's like beautiful lighting. How do you feel when you're there? You know, it just, you know, what's the crowd like?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that goes into it.
Oh, it does, 100%. And that's what Michelin rates on, too. The whole kit and caboodle, not just the meal. But, yeah, I like I said, I think you do a fantastic job at what you do. And it's beneficial to the readers. And I think you're such an asset to this community and what we're doing here in the food scene. And
it's growing. And it's really fun.
Rapidly on fire growing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty, you know, even with flavor, like this will be I keep saying this every year. This will be the biggest year, but
how many so far
doing itself. Well, we closed out 107 last season, and I'm pretty confident we'll beat that this year.
Wow!
So I would say
and there were so many good choices.
120 to 150 probably this year.
You know, one of my tips, like with flavor, is shop the menu. I used to say this in Naples too. Look at the menus because they're not going to change the menu for you for flavor. There's no substitutions usually. So if you don't like it, you have so many other choices.
We have every cuisine.
Yeah.
We have literally every cuisine available every year. We have every different price points, 25 at lunch up to 70 at dinner. You got the chains that we talk about, the Capital Grills, the Eddie V's of the world, and then you've got the mom and pops like Driftwood. I know you and I love going to the Butcher's Club. The PGA National Honeybell. They do the flavor every single year.
Yep.
I mean, I can't even start to name all the restaurants because there's more than 100 of them. But
and the ones that do it well do it really well.
Yes,
like
they do.
you would
They do.
At Butcher's Club, it was such a great experience.
Yeah.
Because to experience it, during non-flavor month, what we experienced, we would have paid probably 3 to 4 times as much for.
Oh, for my birthday dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Or even the first time that you and I went.
It's always a good time there, no matter what. Like, no matter what. You could do an event there. You could do, but again, like so many restaurants put their best foot forward.
Right.
And like, I can't even begin to, everyone always asks me, what's my favorite restaurant? I'm like, I can't even pick. That's why I only have one child, because I don't have to pick a favorite child. It's the same thing,
It also depends on what you're in the mood for. Like, I love aioli.
Aioli's awesome.
I love aioli. And everybody's like, where? I'm like, well, because they're not open for dinner, so not a lot of people know about it.
I'm a sucker for good tacos every day of the week, though. Like, if somebody's like, what do you want to eat tonight? I'm like, tacos.
Okay. What's your favorite Mexican?
Honestly, like recently I had some down south. There's Alu in Boynton Beach. Dos Amigos in Del Rey is really good. I like the street tacos. Rembar, they just started doing Taco Tuesday.
Really? Okay.
And their chef is Mexican, so their tacos are pretty awesome. It's like those Papachulos. Actually, I like their tacos. And there's a place up in Stewart called Townies Tavern, and they have birria tacos. That's with the that's like, that might be my dying meal. It's like a birria taco. Taco. Like, I'm done. Short rib and cheese, fried. It's like, bring it. Dip it in the sauce. Just Give it to me.
I love short ribs. Like that could be like a last dish.
That's good.
Yeah.
Somebody had a really good short rib recently. Where was I?
We were at Don Ramon recently. It was oxtail, which reminds me of short rib just because of the way that the meat falls off the bone, and it's just like,
oh gosh, just so much good food. Moving on. What am I having for dinner? All right. So this, I'm just going to show you a picture of this woman, and I want you to give her like 3 words of advice just based on the photo.
Okay.
Okay.
That was taken in Los Angeles on Doheny Drive, where the slope is very, very steep.
Who is this woman?
That's me. I was in LA for a work trip with swimwear designer Ann Cole. That was circa 1999, probably, maybe 2000. And my flight was delayed so much. And this is before MapQuest and, Google Maps. I finally find my way to the rent-a-car place at midnight, and all they have left is a truck. So I'm pulling up to my then beau, who's a big deal A&R music guy, and he used to call me Princess Biederman. And I couldn't park it. So he parked it for me, and that was taken the following morning when I had to go pick Anne up, and she refused to get in the truck. She thought I would rent, like a Mercedes or something. It's like, no, Anne, I'm not going to get reimbursed for a Mercedes. Yeah. And she's like, I'm not getting in the truck. She was this very petite woman, under 5 feet tall, and we were doing a personal appearance at Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. It was, and funny enough, Vogue was actually backing us, and the truck was handy because I had a box of Vogue T-shirts in the back. So,
you have any life advice for her?
That woman, just do what you love. Everything works out, and that's what I did. I there's something to be said. Like, money was never the motivation, but fun was, and I think that's really important.
I agree. I don't love to be motivated by money. I love.
Where
to
did
be
you find that picture? That's so funny. I think I probably Facebook maybe years ago.
Maybe.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was I remember that morning because I was so afraid. I have this thing about driving on mountains, and I had to do that quite a bit lately, which frightens me.
Yeah, it's awful.
And the hill on Doheny is very steep, and I was just so scared to drive down it.
Have you driven in San Francisco?
Yeah, and that's frightening.
It's awful.
It's the stuff of my nightmares.
Me too.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I love doing this. This
sharing these stories. I just love the insight of your history and everything you're doing and everything you've done. You're absolutely fascinating.
Thank you.
And that girl in that pickup truck is a badass.
Yeah, I was. But it was fun.
Well, thank you for being on, and please check Diana's articles and stories out at the Palm Beach Post in print and online.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.
Thanks for joining me on Forking Around with Flavor South Florida. If you're in the industry, a business owner, or just want a better understanding of what goes into keeping restaurants alive and thriving, make sure you subscribe and share this episode with someone who should hear it. Flavor South Florida takes place every September from the 1st through the 30th between Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast. You can find all the amazing dining deals and participating restaurants at flavorsouthflorida.com. Until next time, keep supporting local and keep forking around.